Canada's recent tourism boycott has sent shockwaves through the United States, devastating towns and states that once thrived on cross-border travel. For decades, Canadian visitors fueled local economies, filled hotels, kept restaurants alive, and supported thousands of small businesses. Now, 6 U.S. states are facing staggering losses, and the effects are rippling through entire communities. Maine is on the front lines of this collapse. Once a favorite summer destination for Canadian families, its beaches and boardwalks are now eerily quiet. In Old Orchard Beach, hotels and motels that relied on Quebec tourists are shutting their doors, even in peak season. Local restaurants, souvenir shops, and rental businesses report revenues down by more than 60%. Families who depended on those few summer months are scrambling, taking out emergency loans or putting long-held properties up for sale. Community leaders warn that if the boycott continues, more than 300 Maine tourism companies could disappear by 2026. Michigan is also suffering. The Blue Water Bridge once carried thousands of Canadian shoppers into Port Huron every weekend. Today, traffic has dropped to its lowest level in 25 years. Shopping malls, gas stations, and restaurants are half empty. Casinos and downtown districts that once thrived on Canadian visitors are dotted with "For lease" signs. Michigan is losing more than $1.3 billion a year in Canadian tourism revenue. Families are tightening budgets, small businesses are closing, and border towns feel abandoned. In New York, the crisis is quieter but no less severe. The state's northern attractions, Niagara Falls, the Thousand Islands, and the Adirondacks, once relied heavily on Canadians. But this year, visitor numbers have plummeted. Hotels slash prices to fill empty rooms, tour operators cancel trips, and restaurants close early. Before the boycott, Canadians spent more than $1 billion annually in upstate New York. That figure has nearly been cut in half. The impact stretches to schools, which now face budget shortfalls as local tax revenue shrinks. In communities built around seasonal tourism, the silence is devastating. Further south, Florida is reeling from the absence of Canadian snowbirds. Retirees from Quebec and Ontario once fueled Florida's winter economy, filling condos, RV parks, and golf courses. But this year, that wave never came. Visit Florida estimates losses exceeding $2 billion in seasonal revenue. Neighborhoods sit dark, RV lots remain empty, and small businesses from pharmacies to beachside cafes are struggling to survive. Many Canadians are even selling their Florida homes, raising fears of a collapse in the state's winter housing market. For many locals, the absence feels personal. One resident put it simply, "It's like we've lost the heartbeat of our winter." Vermont has seen its ski towns hollow out. Canadian skiers once made up half the winter crowd at resorts like Jay Peak, but traffic is down sharply. Hotels slash rates, ski shops liquidate gear, and restaurants close weeks earlier than planned. Families who rely on just a few months of winter income are facing an uncertain future. Heating costs climb while opportunities dry up. Without Canadian tourism, Vermont's mountain towns are fighting to survive. Perhaps the hardest hit is Washington state. Border travel with British Columbia has collapsed by nearly 75%. Cities like Bellingham and Blaine, once thriving on Canadian shoppers, now struggle to fill stores and hotels. Malls have entire sections closed, gas stations sit idle, and ferry terminals are eerily quiet. Beyond lost revenue, the boycott has fractured the personal ties that once defined life along the border. Families who once crossed freely for birthdays, reunions, or even funerals now feel cut off from their neighbors. This boycott is more than a temporary disruption. It's an economic crisis reshaping communities, businesses, and families. Empty hotels, shuttered shops, and struggling towns are now the reality in parts of America that once thrived on Canadian visitors. And unless something changes, the fallout will deepen. This is True Estate Report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.